Resistance Broadcast, everybody. I'm John. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thursday, that means we're going to do a little bit of discussing. We're changing things up a little bit today. We're going to have a little fun with a little thing we like to call around here, called it culture. I called it. I said it. I was the first. My idea. I predicted it. I'm the best. All that stuff that we see floating around online. But this time we're going to talk about
me.
Safe bets in Star Wars. So we're going to list 5 things, some connected to each other, some not. 5 things that we think are safe bets for upcoming Star Wars projects to basically vanquish and eliminate the ability for anyone to claim ownership of said safe bets. James and Lacey with me as always. Did I say I'm John? That's who I am. How you guys doing? What's going on?
I'm good. Just hanging.
Just
I can
hanging?
bet that I'm awesome.
Yeah. Did you ever see that show, Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I have.
Remember that show?
Mr. Cooper.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. That was what popped in my head. And I was like, is this an actual song or am I just imagining this in my head?
Yeah. That was either, was that a spin-off of Sister Sister? Wasn't it connected in some way?
Sister.
I don't know, but I just went, sister.
Maybe that's why I thought of it. Because you
crazy.
you
No,
did the same.
Sister had a spin-off and it was the brother.
Right.
He was like a genius.
No, that wasn't a spinoff. That was just their real life brother,
Oh.
Taj Mowry.
Yeah, but didn't he get his own show? He got his own show.
He did. It was called Smart Guy, but it's not a spinoff show. That was just their real life brother. Who also got a show that is not related to Sister Sister.
Got it.
All right.
It's not in the Sister Sister universe.
Yeah,
it's not in the SSU.
What was his show called?
Smart Guy.
Smart Guy.
Smart Guy.
All the shows, every show
Yeah.
in that 5-year span had the same melody. They just had the jingle
I
driver
love
SSU, yeah.
who was so lazy.
I love 90s jingles. They're like my favorite.
Yeah.
Perfect Strangers.
So I'm probably wrong on the the theme song for Hanging with Mr. Cooper, but I did watch it. It was great.
All right. James, how you doing, buddy?
I think Smart Guy's on Disney Plus, actually.
James, you're a smart guy.
Some would say that. Some do.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, so guys, Weird Brothers.
It just happened. I don't know.
Weirdbrothers.com.
Well, you're not a smart guy.
If you want to get smarter and buy some coffee from Weird Brothers, because they made a delicious brew with us here at the Resistance Broadcast. It is also called TRB. It's the Resistance Brew. So do us a favor and do them a favor. You're supporting a small business down in Virginia. Go to weirdbrothers.com. Just look up Resistance Brew. Buy a bag. It comes to you very soon. You have some delicious coffee. There you go. You don't have to leave your house. If you're still quarantined up, hunkered down, get some Weird Brothers coffee. You're supporting a small podcast, supporting a small business, and your coffee addiction. So what's better
And you're a
than
smart
that?
guy.
Yeah, be a smart guy.
Get your sister.
And your
bag of-
your sister and your sister.
Yeah, both sisters.
Right. And be a smart guy.
BSSU.
Right. All right. So, we are bringing back Will of the Force this week, James. So, where is our dear friend who let us all know that the strongest stars have hearts of Kyber? Cheer it in.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
There he is, John. He's back. Cheered him way, bringing on Will of the Force. But I will say, before we get into the Will of the Force, I do want to say that if you guys like what we do, you can support the podcast at patreon.com/resistance broadcast. And if you join our Patreon at the $5 major level, right? It's not a major level. It's just the level is called major.
The level of
it's
the
major
majors.
level. The level of the majors. Then at that level, you can start submitting topics for this very segment, right? Because if you submit something to Will of the Force, you might see it on this show, as we're going to get into a couple Patreon submissions here in a second. However, before we do move on in the show, I want to give a shout out to all of our generals, which is a major level. If you want to take it that way. Our Patreon generals are Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw, David Probus, John Reese, Micah Harrison, Michael Gaines, Jetta Rosewater, Bethany, Russ Harbison, Kendall Gellner, Paul Olson, Jake Houchins, Jeff Connery, Oliver Lewis, Dave Hornack, and Val Trinchkov. Thank you guys so much for being generals. You are a major important asset to our show, as well as anybody else who submitted topics for Will of the Force this week, including Admiral Double C, aka Chris. Admiral Double C asked us, will Disney Gallery do a special on The Mandalorian for the Mark Hamill episode? Lacey, you get first dibs at this so that you can call it before we get a chance to. I'm just messing with you. What do you think? Special gallery episode for Mark Hamill's?
So I know there's been rumblings online that people didn't know Mark Hamill was showing up until day of. I'm pretty sure Gina Carano's been telling people that. I'm just interested if, based on what Jon Favreau said in the fall, where he was so nervous it would get out, if they literally didn't capture that moment in the scared nervousness of making sure it didn't get out. They didn't even want extra crew people there to film stuff. So I'm going to say they will not release a special about it. I guarantee they interviewed Mark Hamill with the same camera that they shot the episode with. They didn't have an extra crew come in. So when they were done with everything, they filmed on the same stuff with the crew that was already there so that it wouldn't get out. So no, they will not do a special on The Mandalorian about Mark Hamill.
John, what do you think?
I think they will. But kind of similar answer to what Lacey said. And I think, James, you had brought up a similar point on the Mando fan show about the fear aspect and the skeleton crew thing. And I think you're both right. I think it'll be more like the season 1 variety where you're going to get a round table where they're reflecting on it.
Smart.
They want people will tune in for Mark Hamill talking about coming back as
I'm
Luke.
thinking about season 2s.
You're right.
I'm going to stick with that because that's what I was considering.
I think you're spot on that they did not have crews there for documentary for that reason. I think that's so dead on. I agree with that. But I could see them still like, gotta revisit this somehow. Let's get Favreau,
Hamill,
Filoni, Hamill, whoever the double was, maybe even Pedro Pascal, whoever at that table talking about how the discussions came about. When my phone rang, I couldn't believe it. I thought I was done, and do the whole thing.
That's smart, yeah.
And bring it back. So I think they will. I do agree with what you're saying. I think you're absolutely right, but I think maybe they'll.
I agree with you what you're saying. Here we are.
A dyad in the will of the Force. So I think they will, James. So you got the tie break.
I don't think they will.
What? This is bullcrap.
Yeah. No, I mean, my thing is like, I absolutely think all that makes sense. It makes sense from someone that is like saying, hey, when we're prepping season 2, we got to go with all the Mark Hamill stuff that we know is happening. And then we can have it ready for the gallery because we know that's going to be a big thing. And I think that they ultimately made the decision that to leave that out, and the door is shut on gallery season 2, if you will. I think they had like 8 episodes for the first season, and then they made the choice to condense all that to one special that dropped on Christmas Day, right? For The Mandalorian season 2 that encapsulated everything that they wanted to talk about in that episode. And it's unfortunate that they couldn't talk about it, but I think that is it. And now at this point to come in with another episode down the line and be like, oh, and also episode 2 of Gallery. I don't know. It's weird. It wasn't marketed that way at all. It would feel odd and shoehorned, and everybody would be like, I don't know. It doesn't work well. The money's there. The reasons are there. I get that. But I have a feeling that it's more likely that if they do want to revisit this, they'll probably do something different. I mean, I don't know. That seems crazy too.
I took a shot.
I really don't think they're going to do. I said that?
Yeah.
He said that? Oh.
It's happening.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to bring back Gallery season 2 for another special.
Care to make it
episode
interesting?
just for this.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
You already lost the pie bet.
James
John
did.
already won the pie bet.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. When's that happening?
I
2022?
don't know about that.
Smash a pie in your
What do
face.
you mean? Luke showed up.
He said that they were going to do the big three.
I thought it was any of them
No,
show
it
up
was
first.
Luke
Yeah.
or Leia or Han.
Yeah.
And you said one of them has to show up in a book.
In a
That was
book.
literally what you said.
We can go back. Was it on an episode? We can go back.
Yeah.
Do we have a
Yeah,
TRB archivist yet? Are we at that point?
No, I even went looking to see if I could find it, and I was like, no.
I love when James just
it's
answers
too
my question
buried.
as though it's a real question. Do we have an archivist yet? No.
Well, I didn't mean it like that. I meant it as we have no good way to source information from the past.
Imagine somebody
Someone
just
in the
like, they're listening to this. They're like, "I'll be your archivist." Be a
Yeah.
archivist.
All right. Well, moving on to the next question: will Bill Burr's Mayfeld, be a regular role in Rangers of the New Republic? John, I'm bouncing back at you first. What do you think?
Yes. I
How
think
dare you?
I think William R. Burr will return as Mayfeld in a lead role, not the number one role, but a prominent regular role in Rangers of the New Republic.
Do you have anything that makes you think that specifically, or just that?
I just feel like that whole, hey, I liked what you did back there. You're free now. His story's not ending there. Like,
I got you.
they focused so hard on Cara Dune and her like realizing things in that episode, and then Bill Burr had this just standout moment, and then they just kind of say like, you're free to go, and it was very like A-Team, like, hey, get out of here, and they're like, we're gonna look the other way. That stuff never ends there. It's always we pick him up later, or we see him on another planet, and like we meet up, and like his story's not done. And I feel like they're setting up that Rangers thing with Carson Teva too, our buddy Paul.
These are all things I said on the Mando fan show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you took James'
So-
thing before too, so whatever.
So Lacey, you said this on the Manda fan show? Are you doubling down? You think Bill Burr's in
We
Rangers
all
of the New
said
Republic?
that. What do you mean you said that? We all said that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
At 3 a.m. before James and John watched the episode, I put out that Bill Burr is definitely going to be in Rangers of the New Republic.
Are you saying you called it?
I am, since we're doing a Called It Culture episode.
This is a perfect episode for that.
No, I exactly what John said, which I said back when the episode aired.
Oh my god.
The way they focus on him. Okay, calm down, sir.
I'm calm.
Calmer than you are, dude.
Calmer than you are. I'm drinking my coffee.
So the way they focused on him, he has that big speech moment, which is honestly the best part of the episode. And then at the end where there's a moment where they push in on Gina Carano where she's like, huh, that is a good shot. And you're just like, all right, what's going on? So the way they let him go kind of left it open-ended. He's a great character. He did an amazing job. And I don't think Gina Carano, if she is in this show, Rangers of the New Republic, could carry it on her own. And he could carry that episode on his own. So I think he's going to be a part of it. I'm assuming Gina Carano is going to be a part of it. And then also Carson Teva, of what we know of right now.
Mm-hmm. And Dave Filoni. Just kidding.
I hope
mean,
so.
yeah,
I
technically.
love Trapper Wolf.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. My thought on this, the reason I was kind of against it was because my understanding for a while was that it took place at the same time, like a sequel to The Mandalorian, or at the same time. But then I felt like we got information that it was actually closer to right after the events of Return of the Jedi. And that it was more in that like aftermath time frame.
Did we? I thought it was around. No, they said all three of these shows, Ahsoka.
They said they
Mandalorian,
culminate in a crossover event, but
in the same time
main
frame.
I understand that, but I feel like we got other information that explained a different time frame. So I thought, oh well, everything we're thinking about the show is out the window. So then I was going to look up stuff before we got here to see if I could find where that was referenced. Off the top, I'm not going to be able to, but I did go to Wikipedia, and it says that the time frame for the show is 9 ABY, but I don't know if that's based on the fact that they said it's going to culminate in a crossover event. But either way, if it is in fact in the Mandalorian time frame, I agree, and I think that makes a lot of sense, and they're setting up for that. But there is that off chance that this show takes place in a little bit of a different timeline before all that stuff happened, in which case it's not even remotely possible. Because he was, I mean,
still Imperial, technically, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he is in the show. He's just the bad guy. He's a stormtrooper. But I don't know. We'll sort that out. But on an overall, if there's not that asterisk, then yeah, I think you guys are right, because it makes too much sense. The next one is from another patron of ours, another Resistance officer, General Beerfett. Bethany wanted to ask, will there be any Mandalorian episode set in Batuu? Now, we referenced earlier that she's great at posting pictures of TRB merch in the parks and stuff. But John, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about a Mandalorian episode being set in Batuu?
No.
No?
No. And I hope not.
Hope not?
With the rumors of him coming to Disney, though.
That's fine. I just keep the damn theme park just a theme park, please. Like I'm fine with it being canon and in the books and stuff, but we're getting so close to jumping that shark when you're doing this stuff. And like, I love the idea of let Batuu be its thing, but I don't want like Mandalorian going to Batuu. All I'm going to think about is the damn theme park, and it's just going to take me right out of the show.
It's true, because it's not the other way around. It's theme park in the show instead of from the show.
And I know it's a planet. I know it's canon. I get every aspect of that. I know it's been in the books, Crash of Fate, all that stuff. I don't care. I don't want. I just. There's certain lines. They made the books to promote. Let's be honest. They made those books to promote the theme park and make it feel like this big thing. And I get that, and I respect it, and I appreciate it. I can't wait to go. But moving it then into the live action stuff, that's gonna feel, and it's really gonna ignite those Disney haters that are like, look, they're just trying to hawk. They're ruining this show. They're trying to hawk their theme park, and it's juice ain't worth the squeeze on this one. No.
Lacey?
I'm going to say no, they won't, because I feel like they can't control the set like they can when they're in the studio or in the volume. So, like, we saw photos leaked of the Robert Rodriguez episode, and that was a closed set. I can't imagine no one will snap photos if they're shooting in Batuu. Like, you have people that work in Disney, cast members, people that fly over, all this other stuff.
Yeah, drones.
Yeah, I couldn't see them doing this because of just how kind of open it is.
Well,
someone could take a picture.
Argument's sake, Lacey, what if they just said, we're doing Batuu, but we're doing it in the volume? We're not necessarily filming it at the theme park.
I would still say no, just because I feel like they've established their kind of space, and I don't know why. Like, I'm trying to think of the reason why he would go there, and it doesn't make sense why it wouldn't be a new planet and it had to be Batuu. That's what I'm like, what's the reasoning behind him going specifically to Batuu? And I feel like, and we talked about this last week, they've kind of pigeonholed themselves in this era of between the movies with Kylo Ren and Rey that it would be kind of weird to have the Mandalorian there, because it's like, okay, but then you go to the park and you don't see him there. He's not there. Right. So I don't know. It's just a little weird. But my main issue with it is I don't think that they could shoot there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, here's the thing is that I agree with not being able to shoot there. And I agree with what you're saying, John, where it feels like they might be trying to sell you something. But a part of me is like, just forget what other fans think. I want to see it. I would love to see that. I would think that would be really cool because the connectivity would be there. And I would be able to go to the park and be able to be like, oh, not only did this character from the book stand here, and not only did, like, you know, Leia stand here, but also now the Mandalorian at one point in time was in this room as well. And I think that adds to that world. But I do get what you're saying. The only thing that I would like to add to this too is that I like The Mandalorian and what they've done, but I think it is ridiculous that he's on Tatooine. I think there's no reason he needs to be on Tatooine. And if you're going to say, the only reason he's on Batuu is to do this, I'm like, the only reason he's on Tatooine is to make you feel a certain way.
That's fair.
There was nothing from the episodes that were like, oh, he had to go to
Cobb
retrieve. I mean, yeah, but I mean there's another Cobb Vanth on another planet that they could have told. I mean, they didn't go to Tatooine just because he had to go see Cobb Vanth or something.
Well, he had to get the armor back for Boba Fett and meet Boba Fett.
But they were already on Tatooine. They were on Tatooine in the first season, though.
Right,
I mean, we're watching him meet up with Gunslinger, and it's like, why are we on Tatooine?
Right,
like,
but I think
it's
John
only there for
had
nostalgia
that
bubble.
story in his head already that he was gonna meet up with those people eventually. So I feel like that was already in motion. Thus, why that we put him there in the first place. That would be my argument for it.
Yeah, you can backdate it if you want, but it still doesn't really feel like there was any reason why it's like, of course they're gonna go to Tatooine, because it was just very
Boba Fett's
nostalgia.
The one that comes up to finish.
What do they call those in South Park? Memory bubbles or whatever.
Member berries.
Member berries. Yeah.
I remember.
So
I remember.
I would like to see it as a fan. I understand the repercussions of it though. So, and that gets annoying, but I would like to see it. Let's move on to the next one. He is not spoken about, or heard from in the sequel trilogy. So will Ezra Bridger die on screen in a future series that takes place before the sequel trilogy, or will his fate be left ambiguous? John, I think we're coming back to you. Or no, Lacey's first on this one. What do you think?
I think Ezra Bridger's fate will be left ambiguous, because when we talked to Taylor Gray, he had said that he brought this up with Dave Filoni. Sorry, I don't mean to be like, me and Dave.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni.
You have met him, so.
I have, several times. So, as Taylor Gray brought this up about Ahsoka being heard but not him, and Kanan being heard and not him, and being like, what does that mean? And then Dave Filoni had basically said, yeah, he's still alive. I mean, which also brings up the whole conversation with The Rise of Skywalker, which James always says is like, they could have thrown in so many cameos at that end scene that they just didn't. And they could have. So, but I digress. I think his fate will be left ambiguous, and I think he's going to show up in the Ahsoka series.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, he'll show up there. I don't think we're going to see Ezra die on screen. I think Ahsoka will die protecting Ezra. And then it wouldn't make sense for her to die for nothing. That'd be like Qui-Gon dying in The Phantom Menace and then Obi-Wan dying a minute later. Or Anakin dying, like that movie, Episode
10 could be Rey with Ezra.
Yeah, an older Ezra, like 49, 50-year-old Ezra or something like that.
I'm just saying they could bring the character back.
Or they freeze Ezra, and then Taylor Gray gets to play him at the same age. And then him and Rey
because then you have all these storylines kind of doing this type thing.
And then Ezra and Rey get married, and it's Ezra.
Okay.
Ezra.
You took my actual somewhat decent idea. And...
No, I'm just kidding. No, I think it's a good idea. You want to expound upon that?
I already did.
Yeah,
You're
go
just
ahead.
Talking over me. Go ahead.
It's my turn. What is this? You're hijacking my spot, and then you're like, you're talking over me. You talked over me, and then I talked over your talk over. That's what happened.
True. You definitely did.
We have great chemistry, folks. Please subscribe
James.
On all platforms. On
Lost
YouTube
in the
or
sauce.
audio.
James?
No, he will not die, and that's why. So how about that? Stuff it.
Stuff it.
What?
Stuff
Were
it.
you just
Stuff
trying
it
not
right
to
in
say
sauce,
book it?
baby.
All right, Lacey, what do you think?
I already said.
So you're okay.
I already gave my answer. I gave my answer first.
Yeah, before the talk over.
James is lost
Before the
in the
dark
sauce
Oh my
right
gosh.
now.
Yeah, I'm way confused on what is going on here.
Before the talk over.
I don't know. The big question to me is more Ahsoka than Ezra, because I think that Ahsoka and her show and being in live action and all that is somehow leading to her death, which then makes me think the same thing about what John was saying earlier, is they're not going to kill Ahsoka and Ezra, but I don't know. I kind of think they will. Because I kind of think that in the sense of like, you build up Obi-Wan and then Obi-Wan dies in the next one, and they build up Luke and then Luke dies in the next one, and kind of thing. And they did that. I mean, in one story, which is the sequel trilogy, they killed off Han, and they killed off Luke, and they killed off Leia.
How dare they?
Because at some point, at some point those characters have to die. And I don't know that having Ezra already have his like lead adventure, and now he would be coming back older. I kind of get the impression that he also might be on the chopping block as he hands off what he knows to the next person. Then again, I mean, Ahsoka has passed from the Clone Wars to Rebels, and now to Mandalorian, and now to Under Next Show, so they could continue going with it. But at some point, Ezra is going to have to die. So I think
no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He's gonna live forever. Can I do a called it though, real quick? Because I thought about this earlier.
That's the theme of the episode.
That's the theme of the episode. I think that eventually, when Ahsoka dies, I think they burn her body, aka like Anakin or Qui-Gon.
Really?
You don't think she just fades
I think
into
they
the
give
Force?
her. I think they give her this like honorary Jedi funeral pyre type of a death, where you're going to see characters that know and love her regather, potentially like Ghost Crew and Cody, or not Cody. I'm sorry,
Hera?
Rex. I was thinking Rex.
Oh,
but yeah, you're going to have these characters show up for that particular thing to say goodbye to that character, and it's going to be like super heartfelt as they.
you could have
they
the
watch her go.
Mandalorian show up and stuff too.
Yeah, so it could be pretty crazy. But that's it, John. Let's talk a little bit more about what the theme of the episode is. Called it culture. What are we doing?
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
Yeah, so the top 5 safe bets Star Wars predictions. So basically, I called it. We all hear it on social media. Called it culture, as we call it on this podcast. Runs rampant in fandom. We all want the cred. We want the clout. We want the cheddar. We want the followers, right? It's all about that. But not really, but people
Is
think
it
it is.
though?
Yeah, people think it is. So like, who called Paige Tico dying? Everybody did. Who called the return of Boba Fett? Who was the first one? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Who called their mom to tell them that they called something? Probably some people. We all do it. So let's have some fun with predictions by talking about some that we feel are obvious choices or safe bets for upcoming Star Wars projects. I'll run through this list here. We have 5 that we kind of put together collectively. And if you guys like this type of thing, maybe we'll do it once every 6 months or every year as more projects are announced and stuff that's coming out can afford new safe bets and predictions and stuff. It's basically all about bringing levity to this called it culture thing. So we're gonna have some fun with that and spend a few minutes on each one, and away we go. So you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see mine on here.
What was yours?
Mine isn't on this list.
Oh! You talking about
Cassian.
the Cassian one? Yeah, we can add that. We can add it in.
Well, then it's not top 5.
They don't count. They don't know. All right, the first one. Liam Neeson will, and we touched on this Monday, of course, because it's been in the news. Liam Neeson will return as Qui-Gon Jinn. This has to be the safest lock out of probably this whole list that we're going to get into here, for reasons we talked about on Monday. But just to run through it, he was interviewed about it and he was very coy about it, but we all know the series is already written, so there's either Qui-Gon lines or there's not. He hasn't been too busy. He's been doing some B, even C-rated action movies, and why he clearly would want to come back. So I can't imagine a situation where he says, I'd love to come back, and they're like, nah, we're good. So what do you guys got on that?
Meanwhile, he's like, what's a Star War?
Yeah.
For me, I think that it probably is a lock that we're going to see it, just because it's an easy way. Like we just saw, hey, Ewan McGregor's coming back, and it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. Right. But then more recently they said Hayden Christensen's coming back, and all of a sudden now they did that on Investor Day specifically to get people excited because there's already this built-in knowledge and fan base behind specific characters. And anytime you ever say, hey, we're bringing back Liam Neeson, which is, I mean, I don't know who's considered an A-list actor or whatever, but I guarantee like your average citizen, your average person knows who Liam Neeson is. So it's in a way, it's like bringing in a top list name, just specifically for even some type of cameo in the show. It just makes sense canon wise because they've talked about him having communion with the character. And I would be hard pressed to think that a diehard Star Wars fan writing this show wouldn't put that in there. And then I would also be hard pressed to believe that a loose, very lightly familiar with the movies fan writing this would also want to put him in there. So it's kind of, it covers both ends of the spectrum there. That's why it's kind of considered a safe bet. It's like, well, it kind of depends on the person who's writing. It kind of doesn't. It's probably going to make its way in there some way or another.
Yeah. Lacey?
Yeah, I think you both make really good points. I think it's a no-brainer. I think everybody assumes he's going to show up. I think he's going to obviously talk to Obi-Wan and talk him through what he's dealt with and where he goes from here. Because as we know, this time period it has to be Obi-Wan at least thinking about what he needs to do next and what's the right decisions to make. And he's probably been rocked in a sense of everything I've known is now gone. So he needs a little guidance, and Liam Neeson is the best person to give him that outside of Yoda.
Yeah.
You know what is funny, to contradict this a little bit, is imagine that meeting, imagine that confrontation between Liam Neeson or like Qui-Gon Jinn showing up and Obi-Wan being like, I don't know what to do. And then he shows up and he's like, I'll tell you what to do. And Obi-Wan being like, you shut up.
Yeah, you started this. Yeah.
You messed
But that
up,
might
man.
be it,
That
too.
kid was
that could
not
be
the chosen one.
That might be it. Imagine that is the first moment, is him being like, this is all your fault. I told you. He calls it on Liam Neeson. I called it. I said this kid was a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it would be crazy to think because if that is anything that like a fan has thought of before, like, man, it was all Qui-Gon's fault. If he would have just listened, that we wouldn't have been led down that path. But for Liam Neeson himself to come back to the role and kind of defend his character and be able to say, it's not your fault. It's in the decisions of the people, and like you can only move forward with what you can see right in front of you. Don't be mindful of the future. All these other things, that kind of help stay in the present and all this other stuff. And you did everything you could. Again, give me a hug. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Obi-Wan's like 32 BBY. I tweeted that this was a mistake. Whatever Twitter is in Star Wars.
I've been saying the whole time that Anakin kid was bad. It's like, no, you haven't.
I called him a pathetic life form, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so the next one ties into Kenobi. Not as much of a lock in my opinion, but I think it is. Lacey, we'll start with you on this one. Joel Edgerton will return as Uncle Owen Lars. So he played the role in the prequels.
I actually want to start with you. You're the one that really has talked through this, I feel like, more than James or I.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, it was last year or the year before I did an article about it, just as an editorial, assuming that he will be coming back because before the Disney Plus era, I think Star Wars had just kind of come back. I think it was 2017, right before the Last Jedi. So we're in pre-TLJ Star Wars. Everyone's happy. Everyone's feeling good. He said something like, I could totally see Owen fighting Obi-Wan and them having this big battle, but it's
Going
more
on
of like this
adventures,
emotional
right?
thing. Yeah, he was like all into this. Like he was writing the narrative for the character. So he as a person is so dialed into wanting to come back. So that's always that you check that one off. And then after that, you hear rumors that they're casting a little kid to be Luke. Obviously, we're going to see Kenobi on Tatooine at some point. It would be weird if Owen was not in this. And then, the recent article I did about what A New Hope will tell us will happen in the Kenobi series, I said we need to see why Owen doesn't trust Obi-Wan, because the last time we saw him, they accepted Luke warmly and were nice to Obi-Wan, and it was a cordial exchange. It wasn't like, give him to us. It was just like, okay, it was very angelic in this weird, sweet, soft way. Something had to have happened, an event or something.
Yeah.
Where Obi-Wan gets Luke in trouble, or something like that, and Owen like just tries to get him away from him. He's a crazy old wizard, like he whatever. So we need to see that. So I think it's a lock that Joel Edgerton's going to come back, and I think he's probably really jazzed about it. He's probably dying to talk about it. Lacey, where are you at with this one?
I agree with everything you said. I don't really have a lot of details on this one because I feel like you kind of have fully thought through this one. So I'm just going to agree with you. I think that is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, my thoughts are kind of what you were saying as far as like Lars, being there makes sense, right? Or Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
Wait, now I'm getting confused.
Owen Lars.
I liked the idea of something
Yeah.
has to happen between this point of time and then A New Hope.
Yeah.
So Owen Lars being the character that has to be there, I think, because we already know that you got to involve Luke somehow. And for those, characters not to be somehow involved, it seems a little crazy. The only little wrench that I throw in this is the Joel Edgerton thing, in the sense that like that makes the most sense on like a person who has played him kind of thing. But it's that weird thing that Star Wars does this sometimes. So it's not bad, but it's like, man, like 9 years really wrecked this dude. Where it's like, it's not going to look anything like him. And he's only going to be, you age differently between like age 5 and 15, right? But then like, I don't know, you're talking like 50 to 60, you're going to pretty much look exactly the same. And this guy's going to look completely different. And at least we can kind of believe a little bit more that like 20 years maybe is a little bit better, and it's kind of a little bit more believable, even though it's already kind of a stretch as it is. Well, now they're just like closing that gap a lot and just being like, we don't know. You guys know, we don't know. It has to be this.
Fair,
it has to be this guy. So
Phil Brown, who played Owen Lars, was 60 when he filmed his parts as Uncle Owen. Joel Edgerton is now 46. So it's a 14-year difference. You're looking for a 10-year difference. They can age him up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But also just...
And also, Joel Edgerton's cool, man.
I don't know, different actor, yeah. They could also give him prosthetics and stuff to really make him look different.
Like, does Alden Ehrenreich look like Harrison Ford 10 years before? No, but...
No, that's fair, yeah. But yeah, I think it's a safe bet just because story-wise, we know that Kenobi's whole goal right now is to look over this kid and the kid's dad or stepdad or whatever his uncle.
It could end up being one of the more provocative parts or intriguing, engaging parts of the show. I think we'll see how they play it out. But,
yeah.
All right, next one we're moving along to Andor. Rogue One. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. Do we think we're going to get a little kid Cassian Andor in Andor, Lacey? Is that a safe bet?
That is a safe bet. I think that's pretty obvious. Just because of that line. I think that line alone in Rogue One kind of sets it up that they have to have something. I'm interested to see how they distinguish his flashback scenes from the Mandalorian flashback scenes, because it's like those could be pretty similar. But yeah, I think it's going to happen. He's got to have that emotional turmoil of like, this is why I'm doing this. He has to have that Uncle Ben Spider-Man moment of like, I need to step it up and this is why. So, I'm sure there's like a technical writing term like hero's journey or something. I just always use Spider-Man and Uncle Ben because it's like a very straightforward, like Uncle Ben dies and he decides
Look,
this is the time I
with
need
great power line has had a lot of legs, let's be honest.
Yes, but it's the moment that he dies in his arms and he realizes it's his fault.
Yeah.
That he then has to take but this isn't Spider-Man. Anyway, that being said, I do think Cassian will have those flashback moments. Yes.
Nice. Do you think it'll be a start the series with it sort of thing, like a Batman Begins, where you see little Bruce, or do you think they're gonna pepper it in? Like, what's your guess? And this is just obviously a guess. We don't know.
I think it could be a beginning of the episode flashback. He wakes up startled in his sleep.
I like that. I dig that. All right. James, safe bet. We're getting little Cassian, little 6-year-old Cassian.
Yeah, I do think it's a safe bet. And the reason is because like when I think generally when people think about Cassian the character, if they were like immediately were to do an impression, that is a line that they get pulled back to pretty quick, you know?
Yeah.
I was in this fight since I was 6 years old. So it kind of makes you think that if they're like, hey, you know, have you ever wondered about Cassian Andor? What's the most intriguing? And he's like, I think the average fan would probably say, I don't know. I want to know more about why he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old.
Right.
It's just kind of a go-to thing. The way that they would handle it, I think you're right about the Mandalorian where they were kind of doing it that way. Seems, you know, it worked in the Mandalorian, so maybe they would do that again, but then it kind of copies the Mandalorian. But then the way that we just described is very how they handled Jyn.
Yes.
Showing her as a kid.
Yep.
And then, you know, having her like wake up years later and it's still
prison,
kind of like there in her mind, haunting her or whatever. So I think that if they are going to do it, there's probably a chance they're not going to do it either one of those ways, even though the way that echoes Jyn seems like it's kind of connective.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
I think it sounds like they just took the Rogue One script and rewrote it for Cassian.
I like parallels though, because then it would make the connection between Jyn and Cassian stronger because they both went through similar journeys.
Not even knowing it, because in the beginning they're very grating towards each other.
Right, and you can do it differently where, you know, Jin's dad went off and worked for the Empire and that sort of thing, and like they left her to protect her, whereas Cassian could have been abandoned or something. Like you can be on your own and to your own devices at a way early age for different reasons, so they can do a multitude of things. I mean, Star Wars has used all the tropes, so
yeah, I could see him being like asleep and then he has this nightmare, right, and he gets woken up by K2SO or something, and then they're about to go do a mission. He's like, we're here or something, you know?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. What else you got on that, James?
I mean, they could Slumdog Millionaire it and pepper it through the series, not in just like in the way the Mandalorian does it, where it doesn't really seem like he's straight up like. I mean, at
it's
times,
a sensory
like when he's
reaction, he's being triggered by the sound of her banging the weapons and stuff.
Well, I'm thinking of it more like in the sense of like when he's getting ready to handle something, he knows how to handle it because then they could be like, do you know how to use one of these? And then they could cut back to him being handed it when he was a kid.
That could be cool.
And somebody, a mentor like teaching him how to use it or whatever. And then when they cut back to him in the real life or in the regular time, he's more like, yeah, I know how to handle it.
Is Andor a limited series? Did they establish that?
They did not. It's not a limited series.
Okay.
Only Obi-Wan is.
Well,
check that.
I know Lando is, and I think Ahsoka might be.
And the reason I think it's not a limited series to Andor is for the amount of work they're doing on it.
Yeah.
With all the set building and the 200 characters and I don't know.
Whether it's limited or not, I think they're going to do this, but they're going to do it as a prologue.
To Rogue One?
They're going to do him as a kid as a prologue to the series.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna like start the series showing him as a kid and what happened, and they're gonna answer that question real quick, and then we're not
Get
gonna
it
see
out
it
of the
again.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be a thing where they do that and then he wakes up and it's a memory. So they could do that. But I think they're going to start the series with that. Almost like, remember X-Men when they show Magneto as a little kid?
Yeah.
It's something
I
like
hate
that.
that scene.
You do?
Wait,
The first X-Men
you're
movie?
thinking of where they're pulling him from the gate.
Yeah.
That's different. No, I'm talking about the one where he's in the room and the guy's like, "Move the coin," and then the kid's like, "Ah,
No.
ah!"
That's X-Men First Class.
Oh, I hate it. It's so stupid.
You want chocolate? Yeah. No, I'm talking about
Move
X-Men,
coin.
man. The first
Kill
X-Men.
man over there, then keep killing him and screaming and yelling and stuff.
No, not that one. The first X-Men.
So bad.
Oh, good thing.
Yeah.
We would have had serious problems. We were very close to having serious problems. Good thing you didn't say that. All right. Next one. I think we flushed that one out pretty well. There will be more than 3 Star Wars movies released by and including 2027. Now, this one, I don't know if it's as safe a bet, but I think we all agreed on last week's podcast that just based on what's going on, that it's impossible to think that Feige movie or Taika movie is coming out in 7 years. So, James, you're starting this one. Do you think is this a safe bet for you?
I think that's it. I think it's just to think. I know they're putting a lot of focus on television right now, and I think that's what people are going to default to is like, no, I think they're taking a break from the movies. They're going to wait and make the movie special and all this other stuff. But I just think the biggest thing against this is that when they announce the years, they're like 23, 25, 27. It implies a trilogy. And if they're not doing a trilogy, because we know those movies are in fact like Rogue Squadron and whatever this Taika Waititi thing is, and it clearly doesn't seem like it's in any way involved with whatever
Kevin Feige.
Feige's working on, then it points to, why are you waiting so long to do 3 standalone movies that have no connection to each other really at all?
Yeah.
So slipping in other movies somewhere in there as well, and having somebody else produce something so that one movie can come out in December, and then the next year a movie can come out in December, or maybe they go back and they try to play in that summertime again. I don't know, but the point of the thing is like, it seems, my biggest point is what I said earlier. It seems like a trilogy, but it's not a trilogy. So if it's not a trilogy, then what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
You're not trying to make something special. Just do it. Just start releasing Rogue Ones and Solos and other stuff like that.
Lacey, is this a safe bet for you?
I think it is. I think Disney and Lucasfilm's priorities have changed, especially in 2020 with the pandemic and how movie theaters have gone and how Disney has put a stress on streaming and Disney Plus. I think that with competitors like Netflix, who are putting out a new movie on Netflix every single week for the whole year, that is a lot of movies. That is a lot of
That's
content.
a good point.
And that's not counting Stranger Things. It's not counting other things that they're going to put on the streaming service. So I think Disney's going to be playing catch up. And I think the best way they can do that is to make more Star Wars content. The Mandalorian is their what John would say, golden goose right now. And they need to make more Star Wars content, whether it be a show or a movie or whatever. They need to keep people around. And I think that their plan of, we'll just release 3 eventually, I think that's changed. And I think it just hasn't been announced yet. And those things are already moving.
Nice.
Especially since we were pretty certain that they weren't doing much with television. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, we're doing a lot with television. We just haven't told you yet. Yeah. So you're right, Lacey. They may be playing catch up, but let's hope that what they release is not a must turd.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
He's saying mustard, ketchup, mustard.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I think the Netflix thing is what kind of drove this one home for me, was that they were like, we're releasing a new movie every single week. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's insane. And Leo DiCaprio is doing one of them too.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Disney's got to invest in what they have. And, they're already doing that with Marvel. So I can't imagine they wouldn't do it with Disney. That's why we're getting rumors about Chris Evans returning. Like, come on, guys.
Right.
It's going to happen. More movies. More movies.
Well, James just wants a call so he can do kraut tweeting.
I hate both of you. Can you please just answer the question?
All right. I just wanted to relish in the joke a little bit. Sorry. All right. You're both
chemistry.
Weenies. Okay. No, yeah. My take on
You
that.
don't. By the way, you don't get to shame him for his mustard joke
What?
and then give 3 more hot dog jokes.
All right. Jeez.
Oh.
Cool your buns.
Yeah, he's all like, what does that even mean? It's
Stop.
dumb.
You will never talk about my buns on this podcast.
Oh.
please. Next.
That's not the teaser clip, I don't think. All right. So, yeah, my take on this is what you guys just said. It's Lacey makes a great point about the Netflix thing, and like James, like you said, like it's impossible for me to think that they're waiting 7 years. One of those 3 movies is not coming out for 7 years.
That's insane.
Insane.
7
So-
years.
Like, imagine Taika being like, they're like, Taika, you gotta wait till I know you're writing right now, but you gotta wait till 2027.
Your son's going to be almost 10 when that
Oh
movie
my
comes
god, I'm
When
gonna
does-
throw up.
Really quick again. Yeah. When does Love and Thunder come out?
2035.
Next year.
Next year.
Next year.
You think it's 2022?
Or is it this year? I have lost track of time. What day is
So,
it?
so here's the
Time
thing:
is a
is another thing to add to that is let's say it's 2022 that the movie comes
2022,
out, right?
Confirmed.
Then Taika Waititi's movie isn't till 2025.
Yeah, maybe.
If we're assuming that he's the next one after Patty Jenkins, so that's
5
3
years
years.
from now.
That's what I'm saying.
Or-
That's a long time.
5 years to be 3
5
years,
from
right?
now, I'm saying.
From now.
5 from now, yeah, but 3 years to develop that movie. It's like and that's assuming he comes in completely from scratch.
It's coming out
I
May
don't know.
6th, 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's move on to the next ones. We'll pair these up. This is for the Ahsoka series. Both Thrawn and Ezra making their live action debuts in the Ahsoka series. The Mandalorian sets that up. So what do you think? Are these both safe bets for you? We start with Lacey. on this
James.
one.
Let's start with James.
Oh, James. Okay. Are these both safe bets, or one more than the other? Where are you at with it? Thrawn and Ezra?
One more than the other.
Yeah.
Thrawn is like 100%. That's got to happen. In fact, when we were kind of working on these, we were looking for what do we think safe bets are, and I pitched to John Thrawn making his live action debut, and he almost was like, "That's too safe." Like he's like, "That's so
What are we gonna talk about?
100% happening." Yeah. Like my thing is like, we all knew it. When she said, where's Thrawn, we're like, oh my gosh, so that's a breadcrumb, if you will, or like a piece to the next part of something else. Is that the Ahsoka series? Is that the next season of Mandalorian?
Mhm.
Like whatever it is, it doesn't matter. She said, where's Thrawn?
Mm-hmm.
And if there's no way they say that without having plans to do that character in that very specific way. And if you think the breadcrumb is to leave into an animated thing, I think that we're starting to find out that maybe even the rumors of the Rebels animated show is not happening. I mean, I don't know at this point, but I can say I think the future for the foreseeable time is Ahsoka in live action. If she's saying his name in live action, then you got to think he's coming next.
Imagine they never answer it, like Lost.
Yeah, that would be crazy. The other
John
thing,
got that reference now.
yeah, the other thing
I like Lost.
is Ezra. And that Ezra is so inherently tied to Thrawn right now because of you had a very successful animated series that ended with beating the main villain by wrapping him up and going off into hyperspace with him. The two of you are missing, and nobody knows where either one of you are. If she's searching for Thrawn, she's gonna find Ezra, or he's going to have to be involved, because just like you said with imagine if they never answer that, it would be just as weird for them to go down the Thrawn route and never mention or talk about or have Ezra be involved in some way. Yeah. Those two are currently in a story mode based on what they're giving us, is they're tied, and you have to bring those two in.
So both locks for you. It's Thrawn just a little more because they tangibly mentioned him.
I mean, they literally said his name, and she's hunting for him. That's the only reason she's there.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you, Lacey. Your takes on this? Do you have any other vantage points, or do you agree one more than the other? Is Ezra as much of a lock, even though he wasn't mentioned? Where are you at?
I think James is right that Thrawn has a little bit more of an edge because he is mentioned in the show. But you have to imagine that the reason she's looking for Thrawn is for Ezra, which most people know. Yeah. So I would say they're both safe bets that they're going to show up in the Ahsoka series, I think.
Yeah.
But like James says, you just have to give Thrawn a little bit more because he is mentioned.
Imagine they do a Roger Rabbit and Ezra's animated and everyone else is live action.
Oh my God, stop. Stop. Worse than
and then for some reason, Thrawn has Roger Rabbit's personality.
Thrawn, please!
Stop.
Don't throw me in the dip. Don't throw me in the dip.
Oh, that's such a scary scene.
It is. Christopher Lloyd is menacing. I had nightmares about the shoe. I felt bad for the shoe.
I was talking about him at the end where his eyes are.
Oh, like... yeah. That is pretty.
That movie is so good. It was one of my favorites growing up.
Classic. All right.
It was up for Best Picture, wasn't it?
Well, you have to think of what they did. They brought in
Could be wrong on
that. One of the big stories with Ready Player One was that they brought in so many different brands and studios and stuff. That was never. They said once Roger Rabbit was made, they were like, "This is never happening again."
Yeah, it's crazy if you watch the making of what they did with that movie and like having to make objects move that the cartoons were touching and then animate them in later and stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Especially with that technology in 87, whatever it was, insane.
I guess when you talk about it, you can have me on to talk about it too.
My take on this, I think they both will. I agree that it's the safe bet for all the reasons you guys said. A little nervous about the Ezra thing. Ever since we had Taylor on, I've really been pushing for and pulling and hoping that he gets.
He's so great.
The opportunity, and he'd be the right age. He seems that he would want to do it. It'd be funny. I mean, I'd be completely fine if he knew that he was doing it and he just was being coy with us about it.
He was at the volume already. He's already been there.
You know, a lot of people are, we've talked about this. All the other fan castings going on.
He texts with Dave. Everyone texts with Dave right now.
Like, I don't want to. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't want to see freaking Raul Coley playing Ezra. I'm so sick and tired of everybody saying he should be Ezra that it's been over fan cast at this point, and it's nothing to do with him. I thought he was great in the Bly Manor thing. He's
great in iZombie.
Talented actor. I'm just like, it's like the fan casting of the Millie Bobby Brown thing at this point, like the Sebastian Stan thing. It made me want to throw up. It's just like I'm so over that, like the fan casting thing where it's too much. As we're talking about a show that was fan casted with Rosario Dawson, but I digress. I think both show up.
All I'm saying is that he's already texting Dave. So is Paul. All these people are texting Dave. Why are they texting Dave?
Who? Taylor?
Yeah, you talked about how he talks to Dave a lot.
Yeah. So I think they're both locks. We'll see who plays who. A lot of people think Lars Mikkelsen for Thrawn. That'd be cool because he did the voice. But I think, we're going to see both these guys in Ahsoka, and I think those are safe bets indeed. So that pretty much wraps it up. So I thought this was cool. A little different type of discussion. We can definitely tackle it as more projects come out. More details about the movies and that sort of thing. So let us know what you think in the comments, whether you dig the whole safe bet, have a little fun with the safe bet thing on the call to culture element.
I had one more that we didn't have.
Okay, throw it out there.
It was that Cassian Andor is going to have a love interest.
Love interest, yeah.
And I think it's going to be the girl that they cast. Because there has to be a reason he's so jaded.
Oh, Arjona?
Of just
Adria Arjona?
Yeah. I think she's going to be his love interest.
they're gonna pull the Kira
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
But maybe perhaps
Even
actually kill
worse.
her.
Yeah.
He
has to kill her.
I think. You know what? I think
That's the moment.
That'd be horrible.
That would be horrible, but then you see him in Rogue One, he just shoots that guy who informs. And remember, it's how jarring that was. You're like, he just shot that guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't in love with him. Well, maybe.
But that's what makes killing people so much easier. He's done the hardest one.
Jeez. Oh, now we're getting dark.
Anyway.
I think that's a safe bet. I'll put that in as a safe bet. Yeah.
Thanks.
I absolutely think it's a safe bet considering the relationship with Jin and how it's beautifully not romantic.
Right.
They have this now opportunity to go into that and delve into that and have like this fan like tragic thing that can pull in a lot of people.
Right.
I feel like that's
and then the only thing
bet.
that'd be an issue is then people would be like, oh, so then he just forgot about her and stopped talking about her. But then you could say the same thing about Han with Kira. But he found
that's the thing, is that it becomes the Han thing where he has something that made him jaded.
Yeah. I actually think that builds up a bigger reason why you can say that Cassian and Jin were not romantic.
Right.
No, yeah.
I think that builds on that.
Yeah.
To say like, oh, he just forgot about her? No. That's it. He absolutely did not forget about her. That is why. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. All right, let's wrap that up. Now we're gonna hear from you out there in Resistance Transmissions. So let's take this thing home, Lacey.
All right, guys, it's time for Resistance Transmissions. So every week, John on Twitter at RBATSWNN, which is our Twitter account, puts up a crazy, wacky situation on Twitter, and you guys give your answers. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what you said, and we'll see what happens. Which, by the way, I've been watching Emily in Paris, aka Emily in Paris. I really want to learn French this year. So maybe a couple months from now, I'll be able to say this in actual French. So, stay tuned. All right. So the
Je me pas.
Je ne sais pas. First, the scenario. So the scenario is change a line of dialogue from A New Hope based on the idea that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader will fight in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. First up is Brian Ward at Brian E. Ward. Hey, Brian.
What's up, Brian?
I'm so glad that you're putting your name on your designs now so that you're getting proper credit for the amazing work you do.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree. Brian, it's awesome.
Brian said, I sense something, a presence I've not felt since that fight in the parking lot of Dexter's Diner on $1 Jawa juice night.
That's where they throw down.
Next is ZDR at ZDR bracket 16 said, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan is here. The Force is with him. Grand Moff Tarkin, if you're right, he must not be allowed to escape. Darth Vader, escape is not his plan. I must face him, alone. For the third time.
It's enough already.
Right.
Yeah.
Third time's charm. Next is Matt Skywalker at Jedi_adopted. And Matt said, Matt, do you keep changing your...
Wasn't he MIB?
1138.
88?
No, 38, I thought.
I thought it was 88.
Oh, whatever. Matt, do you keep changing your handle on us? You're throwing me off here. Matt said, Vader, when last we met, I was but the learner. Now I am. Holy crap, I was right about the sand. You look like 40 years older.
Topical.
Obi-Wan, you are a master of evil, Darth. That comment really hurts. Next is Haas Aslam at Haas_Aslam. Hi,
What's up,
Haas.
Haas?
Is it Haas or Haas? Sorry.
Ask Lando.
I has no idea.
Ask Lando.
Is that Lando?
No, because he says Han.
Han.
Oh. And they said, quote, if you strike me down, I shall get on my own TV series before you do.
That's a good one. I think it's Haas. I think it's Haas.
Haas or like Haas like bass?
Haas.
Like Bass Pro Shops.
Like
That-
Haas.
I said Haas.
I would say Haas.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
And then you said Haas.
I said Haas.
No, you did not. Play back the
I don't
tape.
remember.
Next is
Rewind.
yeah. Next is Joey Sack at Joey Sack. Hey Joey. Joey said, "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We'll meet again at last." It has a little asterisk. Again. And last but not least is Kyle B at Luke's Green Saber. Kyle, I hope you're enjoying the Mando ring. Congrats on winning one of our contests. So Kyle wrote, "Your powers are weak. Slightly older man."
Nice. Those are good.
Guys, thank you so much. If you want to be on the show, make sure to follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN. And if you're feeling extra loving towards us, you can follow us on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. And tag us when you watch the show. Tag us in your stories. Let us see what you see. Share your love. Back to you, John.
All right, yeah, thanks everybody for listening or watching wherever you take in TRB and being a part of the Resistance. Make sure you do subscribe to the show, your preferred platform, whether that's audio or YouTube, because 2 episodes a week, Mondays and Thursdays. And we got more fun stuff coming your way. It's going to be a great year on TRB, so thanks for being a part of...
Are you trying not to say down the pike?
The Resistance. On down...
Down the pipe?
All on down
pipe?
the line. I say pike, I say all down the line, all that stuff.
The pipeline?
Make sure you're going to StarWarsNewsNet.com every day for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. And Just Like the Movies, my movie podcast. We talked about The Big Lebowski on Tuesday. So get a White Russian and join us. James?
Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks. And then, like I said on Monday, if you were just now finishing up Light of the Jedi or Test of Courage, you can check me out with Kyle Larson on book discussions. Whether you're reading it or not, we've got something for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Lacey?
I've never had a White Russian. Isn't it just milk and vodka?
It is.
With like chocolate sauce?
There's
or is that a mudslide?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like Bailey's or something that goes into it. But
That's so gross.
one time during the holidays, when I was like college age.
Oh, you thought you were going to be cool and have a White Russian?
I had 10.
Ugh! John, did you vomit?
Yep. The whole next day.
Oh.
We were watching, so we were just getting to the Big Lebowski.
That sounds
Baby
awesome, John.
college John.
We were just getting into the Big Lebowski, and we're like, let's watch the Big Lebowski and drink White Russians all night and just be like the dude. And we did
if
it.
I
And we were
know
like,
anything
yeah.
about John, is
Don't-
he has a couple drinks and he keeps going.
Just don't
'cause
drink.
he doesn't-
Just don't drink that much milk. That's the problem.
Ew,
That's a lot
ew.
of milk.
It is. That's
I've tested teas before, and I was never really like a tea guy,
love
but
tea.
I've recently discovered that maybe if I was getting into like a tea mixed with milk,
Oh, it's delicious.
yeah, that it could, because I get this like Thai iced tea from the Thai place,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
like so good.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, oh man, I'm just now realizing this is this is tea and milk mixed. I wonder what other combinations
chai
there
tea
are out
latte.
there. Yeah.
Do they just
Well,
call
except
it
for I don't
Thai
drink
tea
coffee.
then? Wouldn't
No,
that
a
be
chai
easier?
tea latte is chai tea. And the latte
Oh.
part is just the milk.
See, I don't know anything about this stuff. This is all Starbucks jibber
I've
jabber.
heard
Make
chai.
sure
Chai's
you
good.
put the milk in
Chai's good.
second. Do not do first. Only monsters put the milk in first.
I put the milk in first every time.
No,
Like
you
Monster
don't.
Energy
Seriously?
drink, they do a chai tea.
John, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do the milk second.
Do you know why I do the milk first?
Because
And-
you're not proper tea etiquette from England.
First of all, I don't drink tea. I drink coffee. Second of all, like Weird Brothers coffee, you don't have to stir your coffee if you put the milk in first, because the coffee automatically stirs it up. Life hack.
That's just
I just
laziness.
saved you a minute of your life and 1 spoon that you don't have to clean. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome.
Do you
John
not have
John
a
puts his
dishwasher?
milk in before his cereal too.
I do not do that. That is, you should get arrested if you do that.
James, do you do that?
No.
Milk goes in second to everything. Stop doing this.
Do you when you do
Milk does not go second in hot chocolate.
Yeah, and chocolate milk. What are you talking about?
Okay, chocolate milk
Chocolate
is
milk,
the
too.
only thing that it goes first.
Ah.
Hot chocolate, milk goes second.
You just got debunked.
Shut
Milk
up.
goes
You
second
can
in hot
follow me on
chocolate? No, it
Twitter and
doesn't.
Instagram at Lacey Gillerin. That was the point of this conversation. You're welcome.
Yeah. So, where are we at?
Hashtag milk.
Oh,
second.
by the way, yeah, we have to thank, because fourth wall, we haven't done it yet, but we have to thank the podcast Clashing Sabers. They had us on to nerd out about the Mandalorian. So I want to thank that crew over there for having us on. And again, thanks to everybody for listening and watching, being part of TRB. Tell people about the show. Send a link to a friend or family member who likes Star Wars. You are the reason we're growing. And again, shout out to Europe. You're showing up. You're giving the U.S. a run for their money. So U.S., you got some work to do. But do we love you?
Please put in the comments, milk goes first or milk goes second.
No, it goes second. Don't be a monster.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Does milk go first or second as the comment? Yeah, we'll see what they say.
Nix is with me. I guarantee it. Nix is like, of course it goes second.
In coffee, well, we'll see what they say. We'll see what they say. I'm not here to
Nix,
campaign.
do the right thing.
I just gave them a life hack to save their life.
I expect a paragraph like, here's the thing. In tea.
And
like,
quote tweet the episode so that people are like, what are they talking about? I have to find out.
Yeah.
We help you. I help you with a life hack. You help me by promoting the show. Thank you.
Don't listen to his life hacks.
Thank
they're
you.
hacks.
Hashtag life hack. Thank you, everybody. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. We hope you're safe out there. We hope your 2021 is getting better. Ours is going to be great along the way, all down the line. So we'll see you Monday morning with another episode right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.
Bye.
John, you're more like a life hack.
You're a jerk.
Oh,
What do you think
got
about that?
him.